So, good afternoon, everybody, again. This is your host for today, Željko Jeftić. I'm Deputy Director of Innovation and Deployment Department at Ertico ITS Europe here in Brussels. And I have a pleasure of hosting this fantastic webinar with two excellent speakers that we are going to hear from. The topic that we are going to be discussing today is cooperative ITS, and we are going to very much focus on what are real-life experiences from different cities. Cooperative ITS has been a hot topic on the agenda of the European Commission, but also outside the Europe in other regions such as US, Japan, China, where cooperative ITS or vehicle-to-vehicle and vehicle-to-infrastructure collaboration have been researched, developed, over-researched since early 2000. In the 2006, there was a beginning of a round of investments by the European Commission, by the CVIS, SafeSpot, Coopers, and other projects. Since then, there's been a continuous investment in the technologies, in the applications, and also in raising user awareness. So now it is 2019. All of us have our mobile phones with us. We are communicating with our family without any problem. How about our vehicles? How close are they to connecting to each other? How close are we to getting the nirvana of data sharing between public authorities and the private industry? Many of you who are in the call are already knowledgeable with the field. So we are going to be able to discuss this jointly. Today, the speakers that we have with us are from City of Vigo, Jose Manuel Martinez Oliveira, and Mr. Gert Bloem from City of Helmond. Both of them have extensive experience in the field, and I'm going to introduce both of them a little bit more. And they have also prepared a very good program, what they're going to say about their topics. Before I conclude this first introductory part, there's just a couple of things to say. This webinar is recorded because we are going to upload the recording later on to YouTube as well, so that more people can hear about these excellent presentations. And also very important, this webinar is also supported by the European Commission through the Capital project, which is bringing the knowledge about latest cooperative ITS technologies through classroom training, through online training, and also through the webinars such as this one. So without further ado, let me please just introduce you first Jose Manuel Martinez Oliveira. Jose is an industrial engineer and has masters in automotive technologies. He has worked for 6 years for CTAG as a project manager, worked in countless projects. I will not count all of them, but just some of them are Cogistics, Hero, C-Mobile, Autopilot as an example. He has extensive experience in connected vehicles, in eCall and connected and automated driving. Today, he is representing City of Vigo, or Vigo City Council, to be more correct, where he is working as an external consultant and is responsible for giving support on traffic management services provided by external companies such as Asixa and Etra, where he is currently working. So that being said, welcome to Jose Manuel Martinez. Everybody who is online, please let's treat this as a very interactive session. Feel free to post questions during the discussion. You can post them in the chat window or in the questions window. We are going to address them afterwards, or be ready to raise your hand in case you would like to post the questions yourself. That said, Jose Manuel, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, Željko, thank you very much for this nice introducing. Welcome everybody. Thank you for the Capital team, of course, for giving us this opportunity of presenting the experience of the City of Vigo in this journey of cooperative ITS. And okay, I will try to share my screen. Okay, can you hear me right?
Absolutely, and we can see your screen as well.
Very good, thank you. First of all, this presentation was made in collaboration with Antonio Vivero, who is the manager of mobility and safety in the city of Vigo. Unluckily, he is not able of attending to the webinar. I am in a room in the city, and he has to leave for an unexpected compromise. So I hope you enjoy this small journey through the experience of Vigo in the ITS deployment, and in particular in CITS. Just to start, a little introduction about the city of Vigo. We are located in the northwest of Spain. The number of inhabitants are 300,000, but the metropolitan area has more than 600,000 inhabitants. We have a strong industry sector, specifically in automotive and shipbuilding manufacturing. The port of Vigo, with the container terminal and robot terminals for transporting the vehicles of the PSA factory, are very strong as well, and it has one of the main fresh fish port in Europe. That means to manage in their roads more than 750,000 trips per day. The vehicle ratio per inhabitant is 651 per 1,000 inhabitants, and the infrastructure has more than 270 regulated intersections. So this can give an idea of the challenges in terms of mobility and traffic management in the city, with a lot of which concentrates all this industry, and it is translated in a lot of personal trips. The city bets in the ITS deployment just because it allows to reinforce the safety, efficiency, and improve the traffic flow, with the consequent increasing of the citizens' life quality and the better performance of industry. This is allowed without strong investment in increasing or expand the physical infrastructure of the city. So this means additional lanes, additional roads. So in this ITS, the connectivity plays a key role. This is more or less the timeline of this ITS infrastructure deployment of the city in the last 2 decades. In a first stage, the city focused his effort in update all the ITS infrastructure, traffic lights, ITS in the urban tunnels, the variable message panels, in order to offer a better quality of information. In addition, it was installed a new generation of traffic controllers connected to IP and the network, and centralized it with more than 160 kilometers of optical fiber in different sectors, which allow full connectivity of all of infrastructure in the city. And all of this was centralized in the control room, together with information provided by more than 100 cameras and 160 measurement points spread by all the city roads. That was a first stage in connectivity. In the deployment of ITS, let's say that is internal connectivity between all the infrastructure, allowing to have a holistic view of what happens in the city in terms of traffic and mobility. They have the centralized capability of data collecting, analysis, and actuation over the regulation. And of course, improvement of the signalizing capabilities with a better quality of information provided by the panels, the traffic lights, and the infrastructure. In this period, in this first decade, from 2009 to 2013, as a positive indicator, one of them, as an example, is that although the registry of municipality registry of vehicles in the city increased around 15%, the medium speed in the urban roads, taken as an indicator, was improved around 20% from the 16 kilometers per hour, 17, to the 21 kilometers per hour. The second part of this connectivity arise with the new technologies through Bluetooth and the cooperative ITS by cellular or by ITS-G5, give the opportunity of improve quantitative and qualitative information given to the users with safety and efficiency purposes, and retrofitting the mobility management system with all the information connected from those users. In this sense, it was deployed a network of Bluetooth sensor that, through the detection of the MAC of the users, is able of get information about more than 200 road segments through a network of 66 Bluetooth sensors that allow trip time calculation, destination, destination origin matrices, and all this information retrofit the management system, and as well is provided to the city through the web portal and as APP from the City Council, which is available on the Play Store for all the citizens in Vigo. I will try to access the portal as an example. In the meantime, anybody has any question or comment? Okay. This is accessing real time to the web page of the city. We have the warning of the roadworks and in the dates as well. We can have the qualification of the traffic. If it is green, it's fluid, and we have orange segments where the traffic is not as fluid as that. And we have access as well online to all the traffic cameras. This is available from an APP and from the website of the city. Also, this Bluetooth technology was deployed for detection of vulnerable road users, in particular blind pedestrian, that through a Bluetooth special app can activate the acoustic signal in the traffic lights for pedestrians. So we can detect it and activate this signal with the Bluetooth device. In this period, that was deployed between 2014 and 2015. Although the number of vehicles registered in the city is more or less around the 195,000 vehicles, we can appreciate a tendency of increasing the medium speed in urban roads. This is around 14%. We have now detected that speed that is around 24 kilometers per hour in all the roads. And of course, for the connectivity, the new CITS technologies, the city bet on experiment or allow the testing of these technologies through different European projects, Compass for the Ecogistics, and now ongoing C-Roads and C-Mobile from 2013, where a set of cooperative ITS services were deployed. We have here a small video as an example. During Compass 4D, were deployed several RSUs and ITS-G5 technology, and we get to deploy the GLOSA service, road hazard warning service, in different intersections. At the beginning were 17 in Compass 4D and was extended to 50 intersection with Cogistics. Also, the service, this was provided to a fleet of 20 buses with priority service that consists, this priority service is managed by the control room, and in a route, increase the time of green of this route for the delayed buses and got very good results. The same service was used during a Cogistics project with trucks. And maybe the most representative service deployed was the priority for emergency vehicle, where we can see the difference. That was a very, the result of the project, of this project, was one of the most relevant. Where in the video you are watching, I hope you are watching, you can see the difference. In all this deployment, the key role of the City Council was the ability to engage all the relevant stakeholders from the bus company, the logistic operators, and of course, this relevant role, our company managing the traffic, ETRA-ZigZag, who was able to provide all of this information and put them available. And of course, my old colleagues from CTAC make an amazing job with adaptation of the G5 technology and the developing of the in-vehicle systems, and of course, with the analysis of data. The result of such analysis in the framework of the project was very good. I will show some examples. The priority for emergency vehicles was one of the most successful services, with a 15% reduction of the trip time, 18% increasing of the mean speed in one controlled trip, the 40% of reduction in the number of hard braking events, and zero red light crossing with the priority service activated. There are some figures more you can see in this slide. Another example of positive effects was the reduction of 10% in urban trips of logistic fleets, using the priority on the traffic lights, with this increasing in the time of green in the route. And the GLOSA, or time to green displaying, has a result of smoothing the speed profile, decreasing the number of hard braking and hard acceleration events. And from the perspective of fuel consumption and CO2 emissions, maybe the reduction detected in individual approaches of vehicles was not relevant individually, but in an aggregated scenario where, with more than almost 200 of intersection equipped with this service, and supposing 100 or 1,000 approaching of equipped vehicles per day, we can have relevant impact in taking into account the aggregated results. As a consequence of these positive results, we have seen some examples. The City Council decided to make a definitive or consolidate the CITS within the ITS infrastructure of the city. That means that this cooperative service will be part of the management infrastructure, and will be available to the citizens and to the users independently of the project. And they get that, including it into the contract of traffic management as a additional ITS demanded within the tender of this contract. So in the next 2 years, the plan is to get cellular CITS services in the full metropolitan area. These services will be GLOSA, road hazard warning, traffic information from the panels with time of displacement with trip time, and parking info. And at the same time, vehicle data will be collected in order to retrofit this management, the traffic management system, giving idea of speed and number of users and number of occupancy of the roads. These are all valuable data to the traffic management. In addition, will be deployed infrastructure with ITS G5, mainly devoted to the traffic light priority for emergency vehicles, in particular for the local police and firefighters, but scalable to another users as ambulances or so on that can demand this service, and will be available with GLOSA, road hazard warning, and also vehicle data will be collected from this. So for finalizing, this is a summary of the CITS deployment strategy from testing to deployment addressed by the City Council, starting with the testing of new technologies in pilot projects, and not only participating, also taking an active role, engaging all the necessary stakeholders, results evaluation, check the benefits and potential impacts, and finally, if these are positive, incorporate these CITS technologies, which demonstrate the potential impact in the traffic and in the mobility of Vigo within the ITS management, traffic management infrastructure. So that's all. Thanks a lot, and I will be keen on answer any question you have. Thank you.
And muchas gracias, Jose Manuel.
Muchas gracias.
In case there are any questions, please do send them via either the chat window or via the questions window. And one thing that I was wondering, because I was working in this field already from 2006 until 2012, and then I went more into the logistics sector. What I see that has changed now in the field of cooperative ITS, and I'm very pleased about that, is that at that time we were talking very much about technologies. This is what is possible about the technology. Now, when I see your presentation, there's of course talk about technology, but there's much more also talk about the benefits. Because this is really what is important for the city authorities. The traffic management system improvement, the flow of the vehicles. And I was very impressed to see that you actually have, while you have increased number of vehicles in the city, the average speed of those vehicles, which presumably means also less CO2 emissions by smoothing out the profile, is positive. CO2, you already mentioned that there's been measurable benefits. Has there been any measurement of the other pollutants? How much can we save on that side?
There is a network of detection of the other pollutants that it's in another contract of the city that it has to do with on-street parking. The parkimeters will equip this kind of sensor in order to monitor not only CO2, another kind of pollutant as an NOx or another number of particles and so on. But by now we don't have, let's say, we may have estimations based on the traffic, but no measurements around that about these pollutants. To be honest, the location of Vigo, close to the sea, the concentration of these pollutants and the ozone concentration are really low. We have not too much. It's not too much this problem because close to the sea there is a lot of wind, and there we have no, with the exception of a couple of days during the year, we don't experiment critical problems on that, and maybe this is the reason, because there is no encouraged investment on measurement and of course in take corrective measures.
Very good. And my second thing that I was also wondering was, so we see there is a lot of proof of the benefits that is coming from different European projects, that is coming from your own investments as a city of Vigo. What are the biggest challenges that you've experienced in implementing ITS technologies and services?
Of course, the main problem was the financing, and that to have the video of the benefits of, for instance, the emergency vehicle priority that was tested in 2016, and the administration go a bit low on that. But with as the city has the opportunity with the change of the traffic management contract, they include that in the budget. Not include that in the budget. What there was some kind of, the formula was keep constant the budget available for traffic management, and instead of set up some criteria in the price reduction that is usual in the administration, the public administration, they give the city give less value to the reduction of price than to the technical solutions to improve as CITS the traffic management. So the main barrier was the available budget. So there were no room for investment on that technology, but that was changed with this new contract, and that was maybe the main barrier. Another barrier was the use of the services. We were working with small pilots, so the benefits were difficult to put in value because there was a very low number of users, and sometimes the user didn't have available all the time the services, because all going in different projects, and it was linked to the stages of the project. But the availability was as well another barrier.
Very good. So thank you very much. So the biggest barriers from your side, that as you have perceived, is the budget, and of course then the partial implementation through different pilots. Again, Jose Manuel, many thanks. You can also contact Mr. Antonio Vivero from Vigo City Council. You see their email addresses. That said, many thanks. Now we are going to go to next speaker, who is going to be, I hope, as exciting to listen to, considering the results. We are talking about a well-known figure on cooperative ITS in Europe, Mr. Gert Bloem, who has been working for the past, for more than 20 years, actually, in the private sector, working with logistics, working as a business unit manager for private companies in both automotive and food sectors. For the past 15 years, Gert has made his name well known by working as a business strategic advisor for the mobility, and in addition to that, he is still holding a number of very important positions. So Gert is, for example, the national chair of the National Organizing Committee of ITS Congress in Helmond and Eindhoven. He is a board member in Polis. He has also received a couple of awards, such as iMobility Award, etc., etc., etc. Many words can be said about this fantastic colleague, but let's hear directly from him. Gert, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Željko, for this nice introduction, these nice words. I hope this is not taking time of my time slot, this nice introduction, but thank you very much. So I will start my presentation quickly. Now I hope you can see my screen. Can you confirm, Željko?
Yes, we can, and we can hear you well.
Just starting with a disclaimer. City of Helmond, we are a real believer in technology. We are a believer in the power of ITS, but just as a disclaimer, for us, ITS, it's just a piece of the mobility solutions puzzle. ITS will never solve all our mobility challenges. To give you a bit of background of City of Helmond, it's a small city in the southeast of the Netherlands. We are part of what we nowadays call SMC, small medium-sized cities, with of course, we have our own challenges. We are not a mega city, but we have some mobility challenges, but also a lot of opportunities. And especially because we are located in a very attractive ecosystem of high-tech companies called the Brainport region, where there are a lot of companies, research institutes, all working in the field of smart mobility. To mention a few of them, it's Siemens, it's TNO, NXP, TomTom. And in this ecosystem, we as a public authority, we are very well cooperating with the private sector, with the research institute, to come to new mobility solutions. To explain a bit about our mobility challenge of our city, it's good to zoom into the map of our city. There are two things that are outstanding. It's for a small city, not even 100,000 inhabitants, I think it's a very good asset. It's a very positive asset. We have 4 railway stations. Of course, this is unbelievable for such a small city. Very good connections, public transport connections to the outside world. Not so much in the inner city, but I'll come back to this later. But to the outside world, to other large cities in the Netherlands, we have excellent railway connections. The other thing, the red line in the middle, this is not so positive. This is the main road really dividing our city into 2 halves. It's a main road with a lot of vehicles, 35,000 vehicles per day passing by through our city center. And Also, a large part of this high number is made out of about 10% is heavy goods vehicles, trucks. And this is in fact the starting point of our mobility challenges. Of course, again, we are not a mega city, we've not a total gridlock, but we do have some challenges. First one is this high traffic volume on this main road, the red line in the city center, a lot of trucks passing by, but also some other things, especially, and I think this is a problem, challenge for many small and medium-sized cities, the last mile connection. You can have 4 railway stations, but the last mile connection to the hospitals, to the schools, to the economic hotspots, this is another thing if you have a low demand of passengers. And the third one for our city, but it's not specific for Helmond, I think it should be high on the agenda of every city, it's road safety. Yeah, the Bible for every civil servant, I think, is the policy. But this is for us, it's also the starting point of our participation in ITS. About 15 years ago, there was really a turning point with a high volume of traffic through our city, and we had 2 choices. In fact, it's building new roads and tunnels in our city, so new infrastructure. We decided to choose for the other way, to optimize the use of the existing infrastructure. And part of this optimizing the use is done by ITS, by using ITS, CITS. Another thing, I think it was really unique already 15 years ago, we offer in our city as a living lab. We really try to actively support smart mobility pilots, showcase these kind of things. And this is rather unique, at least 15 years ago, this was rather unique. And it's not just writing a policy paper. Civil servants are very good in writing policy papers, but the thing is about Helmond, I think we also put it in practice. To give you some examples, we're doing silly things like closing public roads for testing purposes. This is, of course, it's not just writing this living lab in your policy paper, but really doing things, closing roads for testing purposes. And very recently, we hosted the ITS Congress together with the City of Eindhoven, and also we had a lot of demonstration on public roads, on closed roads. So this is really turning our policy into practice. Our involvement in ITS, it started on the European level with the Freelot project. At that time, we had an excellent coordinator of the Freelot project called Mr. Željko Jeftic, and I think he was of course, partner in crime, but also part of the success of this project. What we did in the city of Helmond is connecting the trucks, onboard units and trucks with the traffic lights, doing 2 things at the same time. It's giving some moderate level of priority at the intersection for the trucks, so we had a better traffic flow, but also speed and time to green advice to the driver. There are 2 good things about this Freelot thing, and also on a European scale, not only in Helmond. I think we proved 2 things. First one, technology worked. This was when we did the pilot, it was already 9 years ago. It was a good thing that we at least had a proof of concept. But what you see there's also is a 13% fuel consumption saving. And this was the first proof, I think, in Europe with real drivers, with real use in real traffic conditions, that there is a potential business case for this kind of CITS. And this was very important conclusion. If you have 13% fuel consumption savings for a transport company, this is tremendous. This could make the difference between surviving of going bankruptcy at the end of the year. So this was a very important conclusion. The only thing, the only but of this pilot is, of course, if you're only doing this in the city of Helmond, it doesn't make any sense. So this was for us the reason to go to the next step. We stepped into the Compass for D project, Compass for Deployment, where we already had more cities involved, more users involved, but also more services. And I think this is the way forward to come to upscaling. This is the only way to come to sustainable business models. And in all my presentations, this is the core of my presentations. Technology will work in most of the cities. All public authorities, they are convinced ITS could play a role in their mobility policy. But I think the main deployment barrier is about business models. This is about economies of scale. And this is a bit of chicken and egg. To come to economies of scale, you need, of course, upscaling. And to come to upscaling, you need economies of scale. And this is really what I think is the main challenge which we have to face now. The next project, we're still in another project together with Vigo, for example. It's C-Mobile. And C-Mobile, this is really about coming to sustainable large-scale deployment of CITS. I think this is really much needed. Sometimes I'm not making friends when I say I hope C-Mobile is really the last funded project to upscale CITS, because there comes a time when we as public authorities should not spend any more money, tax money, your money on pilots. There has to be a point where the market comes into place, and when we have really sustainable, business-driven business models for CITS. If that's not the case, I think we should stop with it. I try to be a bit provocative, but this is really also a challenge for the industry to come up with a service, and especially in the case in the Netherlands. What we've done in the Netherlands as part of the C-Mobile project is not only equipping our roads in Helmond, but also in other cities, in Eindhoven, Tilburg, on the highways. There's a national program called Talking Traffic in the Netherlands, and we're going to turn all traffic lights, all traffic controls and events into intelligent traffic lights. At least from the road side, from the infrastructure side, from the public authority side, we're ready for all kinds of services. But I think it's now time for the industry to come up with services, with large-scale services, with upscaling. So this is really about upscaling, upscaling, upscaling. This is my main message. This was more or less my introduction about the high traffic volume challenge. There are two other I want to touch on briefly. It's last mile connection and road safety in connection to ITS. We also work on here. Same message. This is also about upscaling and economies of scale. On last mile connection, I think especially for smaller size cities such as Helmond, it's great that we have 4 railway stations, but to come from the railway station to the, for example, in our case, the automotive campus, it's really economic hotspot in our city. It is too far to walk, and we do not want the people to come by car. So this is really to make the connection between the hubs, the public transport hubs, and the centers in the city. We think automated shuttles could be a solution for many small and medium-sized cities. So we're now in the Fabulous project, a European project, where we make a connection with automated, means automated without a driver, without a steward on board, shuttles connecting the railway stations with the locations in the city. And I think this is the way forward to come to affordable, on-demand systems, and this will only work when we have automated systems that are capable of driving in normal traffic and real traffic, coping with the very challenging circumstances, especially in a city like in a Dutch city with a lot of cyclists. 30% is cycling in our city. So this is a real challenge, but it's a real opportunity. And I think ITS could play a role also for smaller cities when delivering these kind of systems. This is one of my personal topics that I always want to be high on the agenda, especially on the local scale, because for a city, this is not about statistics. I mean, in the European Union, we have 30,000 people killed every year in road accidents. I mean, this is a shame with all the technology available, but on a city level, this is about people we know, people dying in traffic. And I think this could be partly solved by technology as well. A lot of road safety, it's about human behavior, but there's also a thing about technology. And the sad thing is the technology is available. There's a technology, it's called Intelligent Speed Assistance. I'm also chair of a European working group on Intelligent Speed Assistance. This is technology already available. It's a technology that will prevent a vehicle from speeding. It will through information from cameras and digital maps, it has the possibility to limit the speed of a vehicle automatically. And I think this is also about upscaling. The technology is already available. In some cars, it's already available, but nobody knows it, nobody uses it. And this is the reason why we took the initiative for a manifesto Intelligent Speed Assistance. The main thing, bottom line, about this manifesto is about speeding up deployment of this kind of technology that really could save lives. And this is very important. And this is also a call to everybody in this webinar. CITS for energy efficiency, it's very important, but we should also have road safety high on the agenda for ITS as well. If you want to be part of this manifesto, please give me a call or write me an email. More than happy. It's a public-private initiative, really to speed up the deployment of this kind of system. To finish my talk, I hope I have given you a brief introduction about what we do in Helmond. We're not doing it in a perfect way. The only thing I could say is we're doing things, and it's a bit learning by doing. And the thought for the week to speak with my favorite Leonard Cohen, there's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. I mean, it's not perfect what we're doing, but at least we're trying and we're learning a lot from our mistakes. Thank you very much. More than happy to take any questions, comments, and especially I like to have some disagreements. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Gert. As always, highly inspiring presentation from your side, and pitch for technology is a part of the solution. It is not the only solution. It's a piece of the puzzle, and let's focus on the real life benefits that we are bringing. I fully agree with you that when you say let's stop with the cooperative ITS testing, playing around with the technologies, and we do know the technology works. We do know that from policy side, this can be a very good tool to support the policy. But we also do know that ESA, as you were mentioning, Intelligent Speed Assistant is already available. eCall took, for example, in my estimation, approximately 20 years from the stage that we started developing it in different European projects until it was regulated on European level to be part of all European new vehicles. So what role do you believe that regulation could play in the implementation of cooperative ITS in the future?
Yeah, to stick to this example of ISA Intelligent Speed Assistance, I think we have been debating about ISA for many years. So we did the first pilots 30 years ago already in the city of Tilburg in the Netherlands, and it's coming up very slowly. I think we made a very big step a couple of months ago. We also been involved in the lobby towards the European Parliament. Now these kind of safety systems, including ISA, will be mandated. I think this is the way forward. There's some things you should leave to the market, but if the market doesn't take it up, I think regulation, mandating things, delegated acts, it will all help, not only for public authorities to come to deployment, but it will also give a clear picture for the industry. I think also the industry is waiting for a clear roadmap from the industry, from public authorities, from the European Commission, to have a clear roadmap. I think it helps everybody. So I'm very much in favor for these kind of things, especially when it's concerning safety, that there's a strong role of the public authority, of the European Commission, European Union, national authorities really take the lead. We've seen it also in CITS. It's now, we've done a lot of pilots, we spend a lot of tax money. It's good to know more about the technology, about the benefits, but I think it's now time to come together with the industry, with the private parties, but some kind of regulation delegation, I think it would be very useful, not only for public authorities again, but also for the industry itself.
And the final question that we can take is basically, we heard about the need to involve both the public authorities and the private sector users very much in this. Working all over these years on cooperative ITS technologies and services, have you noticed that this has brought you as a public authorities closer to the industry and potentially led to further, let's say, spin-off these discussions and further collaboration that were not foreseen in the beginning?
Yeah, for sure. And there are two things. What we've learned in the previous projects we've been doing, it helps a lot. I always say think global but act local. It's really about acting on a local scale with your local stakeholders. But we've been very successful in setting up the project and doing it together with Fire Brigade, with local transport companies, and it goes beyond the project time frame. And we're now working very closely together with these kind of stakeholders, local stakeholders, also in other projects and other innovative things. So this is really a good thing. this is for the professional users. So we were, I think, quite successful in setting up close relationships, working relationships, sustainable relationships with professional users. There's still a challenge to make the bridge to the end user, to the citizen, to the general public, to explain the story about ITS, CITS, what it can mean for the end user, for the individual user. It's a difficult one. We tried it this year at the ITS Congress. For the first time ever, we had a public day, really involving the citizens. We had about 2,000 people from the city of Helmond and surrounding cities coming to the automotive campus to show what CITS could bring. This is a bit more difficult story, especially when we're talking about apps, about software. Everybody thinks that it's for free, and of course, ITS, it's not for free. And a professional user, they understand the story, that they have to pay for it, but they could also benefit. If they have fuel savings, they will benefit for it. But somebody has to pay, and this is a bit of a difficult story. We're not successful enough in reaching out to the end user, but well, still some work to do for us.
Thank you very much, Gert. Thank you very much, Jose Manuel. Really inspiring to hear the stories from the city of Vigo and from city of Helmond. From our side, we do take the best lessons learned. There are clear benefits. This is cooperative ITS is a tool to support primarily decision making and policy makers in their objectives. We also do know that there's a number of challenges, such as always finding the budget and how to take this up on a higher level of implementation across Europe so that you can spread the benefits. That said, we are going to continue from Ertico side and from the capital project side. We are going to continue raising the debate, leading the debate on these highly interesting topics. We do invite all of you who have been participating in this webinar to get back to us, to get back to the presenters, the fantastic presenters that we have had today. Let's continue the debate, and if we have more good and best practices from the colleagues that are with us online, please get in contact. Let's work together and learn from each other. With that, I would like to thank all of our staff that has been taking part in this webinar, my colleague Julia, who has been responsible for organizing this webinar and really the star behind all of the technology. Again, Gert, many thanks. Jose Manuel, muchas gracias. And stay online. We are going to be coming back with another webinar in a few weeks from now. Thank you very much all, and I wish you a good afternoon.